Voice cracks me up. Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts and this is True Divine. It's a write-in on the wall, and this is just where I share my psychic knowings, just inner knowings, inner stand-ins, vision quests, whatever I like. Basically, I write it on the wall. Take what resonates from whatever I say and leave what does not. There's no offense taken, but of course, please do leave a comment. I appreciate you all being here and with me and me with you. And I love hearing how your energies are and what your inner standings are of what I've said, or just something completely random. Leave a like and please share the platform, the content, or whatever other platforms in the description box below. So this is notes again. I will get to the point where I know OBS well enough. I've been working real hard so that I can give you proper presentations rather than my scribbles on the screen. But I'm getting there, but I'm not quite there yet. And so this is where I wanted to talk about the spirit of wisdom and sort of I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how I see energy and how I work with energy, as most of you know. And I've always been able to see energy, feel energy. I've turned that off. I've always been able to see energy and feel energy from as long as I can remember. But I was thinking about how energy that is put into something, which is why the occult, the hidden world of the mysteries of knowledge, on the high frequency side and the low frequency side, put energy into a totem, into a sigil, into a symbol, because then it creates a life of its own. It creates a not a being of its own, but a being without the limitations and labels that we put on what is a being. Because at the end of the day, what animates us is the energetic spark. And so when you put energy into the likes of the characters of the biblical stories, you know, the ancient stories, you can go right the way from Thoth to Jesus, and the stories mimic one another like crazy. And so I got to thinking about that. You can look from then Aphrodite to Mary, and again you see all of these similarities between these names, these labels. And so for the most part, we've become very fixed as a collective, as only seeing the energies that surround these characters, these names, as them being the energies being exclusive to them, and something that we have to strive for, and that we're not very good at striving for it. We're always guilty of not getting there enough. And so ultimately we are already, through that system of belief, we're put into a lower state in the game. We're put into a lower status in the game, because we're giving ourselves over to these fixed energies. And the more and more that we concentrate on the character names, the more and more we actually give energy to them, which is the more and more they become more powerful. Now, the problem I have with this is that the hijack that I feel happened a while ago, a long time ago, but not so long in the grand scheme of things. I feel that they have patented these character names. And so those, because we give energy to them and we allow them to stay fixed in our mind as exclusive to whatever label, whatever character name we are thinking of, we give our power over to those who have patented these names and put these great big energies in itsy bitsy books. And so we are stuck in that book, you know, we're bookended. We don't go far enough to explore the energy that is in itself, as if we could strip away the labels, if we could strip away the names for a moment, we would see the energy in of itself, and that this energy is the wisdom, a wisdom, a being in itself, because it's a seed that can be planted in you. So if we were to do that, we would be able to see that we actually are the key holders, or we are the lock holders, so to speak. If you think of our spine as a door lock, and these wisdoms, without the labels, and therefore without the so-called powers that be who have patented them, have an ownership over that energy, we can use the wisdoms within that being of wisdom in of itself to be the key to unlock and level ourselves up. Because right now it feels like they are winning on both sides of this. They have one boxed in this spirit, this being of wisdom, in all of these different labels and character names. And they've put rules and regulations and stipulations around that. And then you come out of those kinds of religions, you come out of those kinds of belief systems, and sometimes we can throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we can say that, you know, we want nothing to do with it, and that we strip ourselves. Instead, we should be looking at these wisdoms, looking at this, the energy, not the character name, but the energy, and using that as a way to unlock and level up in our own experience at any given moment. So I just want us to not be stripped of everything at either side of the extreme, being boxed in by these labels and conditions that come with those labels and character names, to getting free of that, and then stripping ourselves of the wisdom that actually, if you think about it, has been as badly treated as we have been, in that all of these walks of life that have happened, all of these enlightened beings that have happened, we see today that the proof is in the pudding. I have so many of you on here that are such enlightened beings. I look at the likes of you and Wayne, and think, wow, these are basically the characters that these belief systems, these organized religious systems, boxed in and bookended. I'm seeing it in real life. Therefore, I know that these energies have walked before. And so to take that away from us is yet another thing that gives them power. And so we can learn from our ancestors. We can learn from the wisdom that is ours to learn from. It's our wisdom. And so many of us have probably walked those paths of wisdom before this lifetime. So to not allow ourselves to be stripped bare again of everything, so that they, like they do with the wars, win on all sides. They finance both sides. So it's for us to actually see these energetic beings, as I was saying just before I got distracted again, as that if we have had shackles put around us, if we have been bound and gagged as far as knowing ourselves, really, really, truly knowing ourselves and knowing our powers, then these energies have been just as much, if not more. People wear the symbology of a sacrifice around their necks every single day. Can you imagine what that does to the energetic imprint of beings that represent? Forget about the label of Jesus or Thoth. Forget about those labels, but just think of the people that we can look around in our lives today that would represent people way back then, that have truly walked those paths, have truly found and faced the difficulties that we face today, in the judgment, in the powers wanting to shut you down, into the threats. And we go and wear the same symbology of the very perpetrators that have abused and shackled those energies for so long. And we've allowed it to do so, and we wear the symbology of doing so around our necks. Or we speak out the symbology, repeating prayers, patented prayers. So I've just felt it very much on my heart to say this, and I hope I've said it eloquently enough that it makes sense. In that when I was meditating, it was like I felt these beings of wisdom, these energetic imprints of wisdom that have gained life in themselves because they've become part of an animated body at any given point in time. So therefore they've been given the spark of life themselves. So there was a relationship there where the wisdom met the being, where the key met the lock, and it turned. And then there was that spiral of the two of them working together to go further on the path. And so to see the shackles that I saw in this meditation around these beings of wisdom, this spirit of wisdom, to have it each and every day, they have people defiling it and strengthening the links and the chains around it. And so I think it's very important for the spiritual community to actually speak to these spirits of wisdom, these beings of wisdom that are within us, they're within our DNA, they're in our history, they're in all of the walks of life that have gone before us, that have actually met the key with the lock and unlocked that power within that wisdom, become more animated with it, had much more of a spark to their life because of it. It's important for us as we go along, trying to liberate ourselves first and foremost, and grow in this experience. But for me also, I don't want to stop there. I want to continue and be a part of helping the collective to feel the same kind of liberation, in particular the children. And so it's important for us, I feel, in the spiritual community to find those keys of wisdom, those spirits of wisdom, and release them, give them a space to be the full, fruitful, energetic imprint that they really are, rather than labeled and boxed off as characters and names and stories that are very fixed stories. No longer do we look at the organized religious stories that have been patented and stolen from ancient past. We don't do the same things that we used to do by word of mouth through poetry. There's power in the rhyme, and teaching our children in poetry the stories, and yes, using character names to represent the stories of these energies, of these elements that are here, they're all around us. But it was very much known, I feel, that it was symbolic, that it was to meet great esoteric knowledge of the highest caliber and bring it down to age appropriate form to adults and children alike, to be able to absorb it. What these hijackers did was they got us very fixed. They got us very boxed in, and have us having a very limited limited knowing in ourselves of the capabilities of us to actually unlock these wisdoms and bring life to them again. So I feel that we are seeing chains around everything, and that is being played out in the reality. The spiritual chains that I see and feel, and that quite often lately, I'll be honest, I've felt trying to grab up my ankles. Be damn sure I've melted them. You might feel the same way too, because this is happening on all levels, and we're seeing it playing out in the physical reality with the restrictions on freedom, with the restrictions even on love, on hugs. I actually find it very synchronistic that Wayne Steiger, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, go and subscribe. You won't be disappointed either in him, his guests, or the beautiful family that is within the chat there. But he just intuitively is so close to source energy, his own source energy, and plugged into the greater source energy too. And he started bringing a teddy in and saying, give it a hug. You see, just like the poetry that before these organized religions stole the stories and made them so fixed, a guru, a mentor, a high priestess, a wizard, a magi would be the very one in the room that would be being so human they were almost brash, so simplistic that people didn't even know they'd just been implanted with a seed of wisdom that would serve them through the rest of their lives in every experience that they met. You see, Wayne doing that is a perfect example of us needing to be, like I think one of the scriptures said, more like a child, in flow, more flexibility, having a plasticity to our thought pattern, to our imagination. Because you see, it looks for all the world that a hug and hugging a teddy is so accessible to a 1-year-old, to a 101-year-old. Because hugging is actually, it seems like the most simplistic thing in the world, and you wouldn't think that that magi Wayne Steiger was teaching you such a lesson by saying hug somebody energetically. If you can't hug them physically today, hug somebody energetically. Hold a teddy, hold a pillow and hug it, and send that hug to somebody. Now that seems really simplistic, it seems really childlike. But the Magi in him knew that actually he is describing there what is a hug. It is a physical format for absolutely transmuting energy. So if I see somebody, because I work with energy, I know energy, I'm good at transmuting energy. If I see somebody in distress, if I see somebody that I can see that the energy is drained, I can hug them, and I can physically focus on giving them an energetic vibe. Or I can draw from them the sadness. I can pull that into me, knowing that I can transmute it, because I don't own it. So it basically is me just taking the lightning bolt and being the conduit to ground it. And this is where the empath comes in, is that the empaths shouldn't be victims. Yes, we should know the boundaries that we should set, because we can fall short because we're too kind sometimes. But actually the empath is a warrior. The empath is a high priestess of divinity and sovereignty, knowing that they can take something from someone and not claim ownership to it, but take the deepest sadness from somebody, feel it, yes, but not take ownership of it and ground it. Taking that lightning bolt out of that person and transmuting back to them the energy of love and compassion. A hug is a very high caliber of wisdom and of knowing, because the best wisdom serves everybody. The best wisdom serves all in whatever experience they are met with. Like I said, from a 1-year-old or less to a 101-year-old or more. It matches everybody. And so where they have fixed these characters and these energies into these very fixed stories, and we've forgotten our plasticity as a collective, we've forgotten our flexibility as a collective, I feel like that even when we come out of this these cults, these spell works that are organized religion, we tend to go to the other extreme and want to have that saying of throw the baby out with the bathwater, in that the bathwater is so muddy after all of the farmer, the wife, the oldest child, middle child, and the youngest child was always the last. And that's where that saying came from, that by the time the baby was getting in the water, the water was dirtier than them, and so you had a chance to miss the baby because of all the muck. And so I don't want us to be so fixed that when we think we're being in flow because we've released ourselves from the chains to a certain extent of organized religion, but then we get so fixed as well on being afraid to release that wisdom, to liberate that wisdom within ourselves because it has a name attached to it, or they have stolen another symbol and has it attached to it, like the bloody crucifix that is a sacrificial symbol of an enlightened being. I don't want us to be so fixed that we do throw that baby out with the bathwater, because again, that would be another travesty, not only for us as individuals, but for this loop, that the energies themselves of all that have walked before us and all that will walk after us, not being able to give life to the spirit of wisdom, to the energies of wisdom, to liberate them while we liberate ourselves, to be in that relationship with that spirit of wisdom. So we release both ourselves and the energy from within these characters, from the names and labels that have put them in the box. And it is at this point I've written here that the key meets the lock. The wisdom is not distorted by the character names. It's not stained by the stealing of the symbology. But it is actually given life. It is actually met with clarity. It is crystal clear and yours to own. Yours to not even own. Just be with. Walk in. Know in. So where we can be conditioned and feel like we've released ourselves from something, we can also condition ourselves within that conditioning to eliminate ourselves from the game altogether of being able to reclaim what it was ours. And the problem is, when you look at what this has done as to where we are now, you might say, well, how's that going to help where we are now? Well, for damn sure, you see, we've been conditioned very much so to characterize things. And so when we have, say, the crown, the crown in itself, the royal family has been quoted many times saying the crown must survive. The crown comes before all, not the queen, the crown. Because within that ring, that golden ring that is the crown, they have vampirized so much energy over the years that now some people still can't see past the crown to see the very beings that are wearing it and what they do in the name of it. Why? Because again, we've been conditioned by organized religion for a great part to accept that there are just certain characters that are untouchable to us. There are certain energies that aren't ours to own. And with this, we will give away our divinity and sovereignty. We are saying we give away our divinity and sovereignty because, like, you know, the songs say, there's only one sovereign, and that's the queen. So you're giving away of that. So that kind of conditioning and this kind of fixed mentality, even after you've released yourselves from the chains of organized religion, gives them the space to do what they've actually done now. Gives them the space to create caricatures that don't even fit the bill for the wisdom that they are saying they are given. If we look at Fauci, if we look at Gates, all of these characters that we've given power to because we are so fixed in now the new belief system that science is beyond us, that medicine is beyond us. It is for these characters to fulfill, and we will just go with the story, we'll go with the narrative, whatever is put before us. So that is the danger of not just liberating yourself, but liberating the wisdom. And this is where we end up, that now we have a very few with the capability to direct the world that in a great part has been conditioned one way or the other to see these wisdoms as very fixed stories that do not actually belong to us. So they don't actually really resonate with us. Well, that's just because they've had a veil put over them, they've had a box put around them. And that box is these characters, these untouchable characters. And so I petition you to go into meditation, to speak to a spirit of wisdom that resonates with you right now, with the experience that you are in right now. Whether you are in an aspect of your life where you feel like you're going through trials and tribulations, speak to that wisdom and really communicate with it and actually see the shackles fall off you and it. See the actual veil of distortion lift from that spirit of wisdom, and see how actually the key that wisdom gives fits your lock perfectly for you to level up in whatever way, whatever experience you are being met with today in your life. So I hope that makes sense. A lot of the time when I get these things, you know, the quick, I mean, you can see my writing, it's quick hand, it's and sometimes I find it a little bit difficult to convey them, and so I hope I convey them clearly and concisely and in a way that basically can help you reach your highest potentials, that can help you liberate yourself from whatever chains that have bound you or that you've allowed to be bound by. To release yourself from the limitations. And so I do hope that when I speak it comes across. If it hasn't come across clearly, please ask questions in the comments section. I promise I'll get to them, because I do want this to be known. And I'm not blow my own trumpet. I'm sure there's many people that have had these same inner stand-ins and downloads and put it out there, but this is where we meet with the power that stops the very thing that is happening right now to the world. This is the kind of leveling up that makes it much harder for these beings to do what they are doing right now. Because within this, we're not on our own. When we can take the shackles off that spirit of wisdom and be in relationship with it and use it, both the spirit of wisdom, just like the energy that's given to the crown, and the crown's grown in power, just like the energy that's given to the church, and the church has grown in power. You and that spirit of wisdom being in relationship with one another and sparking to that leveling up gives life to that spirit of wisdom, which is then impacting on others more so. And it also brings more life to you in your walk, on your path, on your journey. So please leave a comment, and please question if you have any questions. Leave a question in the comment section, and I'll get back to you, because I wanted this to be clear and concise, but then I get talking and it just flows like it does when I'm writing it down. So that is it for now. Much love, balance, and wholeness. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Let this be a great and fantastical day for you, wherever you are, whatever you are doing. Let you and you be met with gifts, universal energies, drawing the right people and the right frequencies into you and around you and within you, so that you heal physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and level up in this game. That is my intent for you today. Anyway, much love. Mwah.